Welcome to Hi Channel. Today please go with us to the beautiful island of Cayo Coco, and join our day trip across the sea to Moron, a charming city on mainland Cuba. This morning we leave the quiet resort beaches behind and drive onto the famous Pedraplén causeway, a long ribbon of road stretching across turquoise water, connecting the cayos to the island. On both sides, the ocean sparkles under the Caribbean clouds, fishing birds glide above the mangroves, and little by little, the scenery changes from paradise shoreline to everyday Cuban life. After crossing the sea, we arrive in Moron, known as the city of the Rooster. Here, the pace slows down. Classic cars roll past colorful houses, bicycles share the streets, and music floats gently through the air. Life gathers around José Martí Park, the heart of the city, where families sit in the shade, friends chat on benches, and children play under the trees. It feels simple, warm, and authentic, a side of Cuba many travelers never get to see beyond the resorts. Later, we head out to the peaceful Laguna La Redonda for lunch. With the lake breeze and wide open sky, it's the perfect place to relax, enjoy fresh local food, and watch the water shimmer in the afternoon light. A quiet moment to slow down, and just breathe. But as beautiful as Cuba looks, the reality today is more complicated. In January 2026, the Government of Canada advises travelers to exercise a high degree of caution, due to shortages of food, medicine, fuel, and water, along with frequent and unpredictable power outages. International tensions are also high. In late January, President Donald Trump stated that Cuba will be failing pretty soon, highlighting the island's deteriorating economic conditions after the recent US-led operation in Venezuela, an event that deeply shook Havana's longtime political and economic alliances. Daily life here isn't always easy. Yet what touched us most is the spirit of the people. Despite decades of hardship, Cubans remain incredibly kind, resilient, and even humorous. Our guide shared a joke with a tired smile. Do you know the difference between Cuba and the Titanic? When the Titanic sank, the lights were still on. Here, we already lost power. Even in difficult times, they still laugh. And maybe that's what makes this journey special. Not just the views, not just the places, but the people, the stories, and the real life behind the postcard. So today, come explore Moron with us. Cross the sea, walk the plaza, taste the local food, and discover the heart of Cuba together. Let's go.
Well, my friends, so today we're going to do the Cuban aromas tour. Guys, today, and my name is Victor. That means I'm going to be your best friend, bus driver on the bus. Okay, his name is Juniel. And here I have a co-worker, he's hitchhiking now. Okay, j'ai un bon ami de moi ici, qui est en copain de travail, et il fait la pousse. Okay, pour retourner chez lui. So he's going back home right now. Okay, before starting the tour, I would like to know if you've been in Cuba before. Yeah, arranca hacer el tour. But when I'm talking about Cuba, I'm talking about Cuban reality, not these islands, okay? It's like science fiction over here. I mean, mainland, Parador, Havana, Morón. Yes, okay. Right. Schedule of the tour today. Yeah, le programme d'excursion aujourd'hui. So we're going straight to the private farm. It's going to be the first stop. It's going to be in like an hour 40 minutes from here. Okay, right there we're going to do a tour through the farm. We're going to do the horseback riding. We're going to know more about cigars, coffee. We're going to have the chance of buying also cigars, coffee, honey, you know, right there. After that we're going to Moron. Moron is the second most important city in this province, where we're going to have some free time in order to walk around the city, take pictures. Right there we're going to do the cruising ride through Moron. Okay, once we finish we're going to the Crocodile Farm. Okay, that's the last stop before lunch. Okay, once we finish with the crocodiles, we're going to the Lake La Redonda. This is the place where we're going to have lunch. Okay, and the speedboat ride also right there. Okay, once we finish, you know, we're going to stop on the way back in the causeway, the lake Cayo Coco with the mainland. Okay, in the place which name is La Silla. Okay, there you can buy rum, very good rum, and pina colada. Once we finish, we're coming back here to Cayo Coco to drop you off. Okay, that means around 5:30 more or less. Yeah. Okay, hello. here to work, and then we go back home around 9, 10, it depends. Ok. Sinon, on termine plus tôt, on fait la bus. Okay. If we finish earlier, so we have to hitchhike. You know, hitchhiking in Cuba is considered the second national sport. You know, in our country, everywhere you see the people hitchhiking. You're gonna see along the way. Vous allez les voir. Beaucoup d'animaux. So we have a lot of animals here in Cayo Coco. Mainly cats, dogs, pigs, and birds. Okay, principalement. So for the kids mainly, so good advice not to touch, not to pat. You know, the cats and dogs mainly, because they were abandoned long ago. They are not domestic anymore. They are kind of wild, and to avoid accidents, it's better not to touch them. Okay, stay away from them. That's very important. Here in this area, we used to have one of the biggest population of pink flamingos at the Caribbean area. Okay, on a ici l'une c'était avant 2017. Why before 2017? In 2017, September 2017, we had the worst hurricane in the last 20 years. You know, Irma hurricane. Okay, Irma killed around 85% of the flamingos population in the area. Okay, look again, Irma, 145 kilometers per hour wind speed. You know, it was terrible. So we can say that you are lucky if you see one or two flamingos right now. Et on peut dire que vous êtes chanceux si vous pouvez voir quelques flamants ici. Parfois, à l'entrée de Cayo Guillermo, il y a des lagunes où vous pouvez voir des flamants. So sometimes at the entrance of Cayo Guillermo there are some lagoons, so you can see some of them. But in Cayo Coco it's very, very hard to see. Yeah, Cayo Coco c'est vraiment difficile de voir. So once they are together, it's for the lifetime. You know, they join for lifetime. So they have 2 eggs per year. Okay, ils ont 2 œufs par an. Okay, so they have a lot of predators like dogs, hogs, and some Cuban people eat them also. Okay, so it's gonna take around 15 more years to have a big population again. Ça va prendre environ 15 plus ans. Is the way down is the road that link Cayo Coco with the mainland. This was the first causeway built in Cuba, 32 kilometers long. Okay, la première chaussée construite à Cuba, avec 32 km long. Okay, c'était la première. This one. Okay, ici. Avec ce petit cahier, on peut acheter de la nourriture une fois par mois par personne. With this small notebook, we can buy food once a month per person. No. So, if there is anybody from here, I work for a Gaviota company. Gaviota is divided in 5 enterprises. Every car, you know, in the way out, they have to pay tax. Okay, that's for fixing this causeway. You know, it's like a toll. And then also they are checked by police. Okay, it's something checked by the police. À l'entrée, c'est pour de la security control. You know, we have security to keep safe. You know, these islands here to the north of Cuba. In the way out, okay, à la sortie, il y a des travailleurs. Workers in the hotels, mainly the ones working at the buffets and or the restaurants, okay, they get some food, you know, they bring it back to their houses. It's not allowed. If these people, you know, fine, they bring some food with them, okay, it's the end. Okay, they're going to confiscate all the food and they're going to lose their jobs. They are kind of army guys. Okay, so it's, you know, doing the military service, which is mandatory in Cuba after 18 years old. It's only for boys. Okay, but it's mandatory. Okay, c'est seulement pour les hommes on a the neighborhood right here to the left hand. This is a better place to live. Voilà, ok, à gauche on va voir l'étudiant ici gratuitement la for free et gratuite pour voyage en retour just like this. Alors ici on peut voir sorte d'architecture en Moron. So in Moron we have the bank. On out here for hours to try to get the 2,000 Cuban pesos. They have a limit. No, true. Le problème avec enough for everybody. L'importation de Russia, so they are in kind of war right now. Enough for us. Okay, il n'embauche pas. We have a blackout. Like I said to you, power for the whole day. Okay. Il y a de l'électricité, il faut cuisiner les jours. Tous les jours. Il y a des gens qui peuvent pas. So some people they cannot pay the gas with wood. Okay, so people ici c'est vrai. You know, so they cannot. À gauche, on va voir maintenant les sentiers.
Estilo bueno, son cubano, con voz principal madura, firme, pero dulce, acento latino neutro, cantará.
We have beside of the Rooster. Okay, dans la tour ici, il y a eu des haut-parleurs. In the evening, it used to sound like a real good. Ça sonnait comme une good hell. It's the only one hotel we have in Moron, but even quand tu travailles, il reste là. So when le voyage, il reste ici, une nuit et continue un peu. As I told you, way, that phone service is right there. It's owned by the government and we have only one in Cuba. On a une seule compagnie à Cuba. Il n'y a pas deuxième choix. There is no two options. So the internet in Cuba, we are allowed to buy up to 360 Cuban pesos per month. Okay, on peut acheter une plaquette de 360 pesos par mois. this is American crocodile. Okay, so this is the crocodile American. Okay, speak English. Okay, 5 years old, around 5 years old. Okay, we don't know the sex yet. Okay, we can't find the sex encore. Or to know if they are male or female. Okay, because the only one way we have to know the sex is introducing the finger there, and then we can push the eggs inside. Okay, okay, so chicken and fish twice a week. They can have up to 60-65 eggs. Okay, but for some have more males or more females. Depends on the weather, the temperature. Okay, on male in a temperature over 30 degrees, they're going to be male. Under 30 degrees, they're going to be female. So.
Here, give him that.
5 months.
This is a baby, right?